Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Crimson and in this video we are going to be covering part 2 of my third art book haul. So just one quick thing I wanted to say just before we get into the books itself. I apologize for any background noise of my PC. I am currently rendering a video at the moment, so my PC is kind of being very loud, so I do apologize if that is a bit disturbing in terms of audio. But with that out of the way, let us get straight into the art book haul. So the first book is the Dragon's Dogma official design works. Dragon's Dogma is one of my favorite games of all time. It is a extremely underrated game in my opinion, especially the first game. The second game was a lot better in terms of quality of life stuff, but personally I still prefer the first Dragon's Dogma. This book is for the first Dragon's Dogma game, and it covers a bunch of sketches and artwork of the different enemies, characters, and monsters, as well as giving some little lore tidbits and kind of developer notes on it, which is really cool. The only downside about this book, and not this isn't to do with the book itself, but this is to do with the book that I ended up buying, is because this book goes for quite a lot, I ended up having to buy a used copy. So as you can see, there's kind of a little bit of damage at the top here, but that's about it. Otherwise, I absolutely am so glad to have this book, and I will definitely be covering this soon, as I adore Dragon's Dogma, like I said. The next book is a book that is another one of my Grail books, similar to Metal Gear Solid 5, and is a book that I honestly never thought I would be able to own due to both its price and its rarity in terms of finding a copy. And that is the art of Wolfenstein: The New Order. Wolfenstein: The New Order is one of my favorite first-person shooters of all time. It is such a good game. The New Colossus is, I'm semi-mixed about it, but this book just covers the New Order. So I did have a little bit of a peek through this book, which I usually do not do prior to covering the books. And the artwork and stuff in this is so good. So again, I am super excited to cover this book, and yeah, the reason I never thought I would be able to own this is this book usually goes for about €300 new, and that's if you're even able to find a copy of it. I managed to get this copy for about €200, which is still quite a lot for an art book, but in my opinion it was well worth it. Next up, we have The Art of Ghost in the Shell. Now, a couple of things about this book. Ghost in the Shell is one of my favorite animes of all time. Both the movies and the standalone complex anime series. However, this book is actually more to do with the live-action film. So this is the first film art book that I've actually ever bought. It still covers quite a lot of the concepts and especially the technology of the series, but it does also lean into some of the artwork and art design of the film itself. So I am also planning on buying the standalone complex art book, which is fully based on the show, the movies, and the manga. But I just thought that this book plus the anime art book would be a really good series to cover. It has this really nice embossed kind of textured cover, which is really cool. So yeah, I'm really glad that I got this, and I think it's cool that this is kind of my first film art book. I'm not sure if I'm going to be covering that many film art books on the channel, but yeah, this is definitely one that I'm glad to have. Next up is the Last of Us Artbook. So The Last of Us, or at least the first Last of Us, is one of my favorite story games of all time. The kinds of games that I like to play are all single-player, story-focused games. So The Last of Us, the first game anyway, was right up my alley. I am not a big fan of the second game. The gameplay in it is fine, but the story is very disappointing in my opinion. However, this book is so good. I have actually already recorded the series for this book, and as someone who is a fan of concept art in art books, this book is beyond expectations. The amount of concept art in this book is extraordinary. So we'll just flip it over. There's some art of one of the buildings being overtaken by nature, which is a big kind of theme for both this book and the game itself. But yeah, really good. And like I said, I have already recorded the series for this book, so expect to see this being uploaded sometime very soon. The next book is the Elden Ring Official Artbook Volume 1. In the first part of this video of my third art book haul, I showcased the second volume of the Elden Ring art book. The second volume of the book that I bought is the English version of the book. However, the first volume of the Elden Ring book that I was able to find on both Amazon UK, which is where I mainly buy most of my art books, as well as Amazon America, both had the English version of Volume 1 either completely out of stock or for resale for about €750, whereas the Japanese version went for the standard price of just €70. So despite this being the Japanese version, I know enough about Elden Ring to kind of know exactly what's what, despite not having the text labeling each section. So now that I have both volumes of this, I will be sure to start making these series. I did get a comment on one of my previous YouTube videos asking for me to do a showcase of the Elden Ring books, and now that I have volume 1, I will definitely be doing this. The Elden Ring book is going to be the next book I'm going to be recording. However, I'm not sure when it is going to be uploaded, because I have approximately 15 videos that I have yet to release that I have recorded. So really excited to do this. I adore Elden Ring. It's not my favorite From Software game, but it is absolutely one of the best video games ever made, in my opinion. Next, we have The Art of Dishonored 2. So, this is a book that I had been wanting to get for a while. I originally wanted to see if I could find an art book for Dishonored 1 as well. However, that does not exist. There is a book called, I believe it's called the Dunwall Archives, but that isn't really an art book. It's more of like a lore book with a couple of illustrations and sketches, whereas this is a full-on art book for Dishonored 2. I know a lot of people actually do not like the second Dishonored game, which I don't get. I fully love Dishonored 2. And like all these kinds of games, I always play them completely non-lethal, non-detection. So, yeah, really excited to cover this book as well. Next up, we have The Art of Deus Ex Universe. So this book covers both Mankind Divided and Human Revolution. The Deus Ex series is a series that I really like. The first Deus Ex is one of the best games ever made, in my opinion. And the newer games, for all the flaws that some people say they have, and I do agree they definitely do have their flaws, are really, really good in my opinion. I particularly like Mankind Divided, as that was actually my entry point into the Deus Ex series. So yeah, really cool book. This book was actually extremely cheap, despite very few copies being available. This book only cost €10, which is insane for such a good art book. And it's not a small art book by any means, if you can see the width of the book. So yeah. And lastly, we have the Art of Halo Infinite. So this is the final book in my Halo, or my official Halo game art books. I have the Halo 3 book, and the Halo 4 and the Halo 5 book, and this finishes it off. There is another book that I'm going to mention after I'm done explaining this, but yeah, really looking forward to this. If you guys have been following the channel for a while, my very first video that I actually ever made was a short, about 20-minute video covering the miniature Halo Infinite art book, which came with the collector's edition of Halo Infinite. And this book has some of the same artwork, however, this is greatly expanded. The one that came with the game is more of a booklet, whereas this is just a full-on art book. So, yeah. Now, that is all the art books that I currently have with me right now. However, there are two other books that I just want to quickly mention. The reason I'm mentioning them is because while I have ordered them, they will not arrive for about another 2 months, and I'm not planning on buying any more art books for the time being. Those two books are The Art of Halo, Creating a Virtual Masterpiece. I will put a picture of it somewhere here. And it is a mixture of an art book for both Combat Evolved and Halo 2, as well as a lot of developer notes in the creation of the games, and also the Cyberpunk 2077 art book. This is not the guide book, which is kind of more to do with just pictures of, information about the game itself, whereas the one I bought is the actual artbook. It goes for quite a lot, however, I managed to win an eBay bid for it for about £50, so really, really glad I managed to scoop that up. So, yeah, that is going to be it for this video. This is just going to be a short and sweet video, because I really wanted to show you guys these new books that I have acquired. And yeah, that's it. So thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, or are at least excited to see some of the art books being covered. I just want to quickly give a shout out to my 2 Patreon subscribers. So thank you, Slice of Life for Life, and thank you, Mary the Otaku. Your patronage means the world to me, and also your viewership means the world to me as well, for all of you guys. So that's going to be it for this video. My name has been Crimson. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good evening.